Garbage, crawl spaces, and taxes? Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or relocating to Washington, you're going to want to stick around to learn all about the hidden cost of owning a home in Sumner, Washington. I'm Rebekah Daniels, your Sumner Insider, here to keep you updated on what's happening in Seattle, Tacoma, and everything in between. Let's get started with the obvious. Unless you're buying with cash, you're going to need to get a loan to buy your house. Right now, the average home is around $520,000, which is going to give you a mortgage payment of around $3,300 per month. Now, that number is only for your mortgage and interest. It does not include your PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, homeowners insurance, taxes, or HOA if you have one. And that number is a pretty rough estimate because I don't know how much money you're putting down, what your interest rate will be, or any of the other details that go into that payment because you're just watching me on YouTube and we haven't met yet. But when we do, I'll connect you with one of our local lenders, and together we'll look at all of those details and work out a plan that makes sense for you and your goals. All right, let's talk taxes. You can't avoid them. Well, you can try, but it's probably not going to end well for you. The average property tax rate in Sumner, Washington is 1.16% of the assessed value of your property, which is determined by the local assessor's office. Neighboring towns of Puyallup and Bonnie Lake have an average property tax rate of 1.17% and 1.21% respectively. So Sumner is a little bit on the lower side. The average property tax rate for Pierce County as a whole is 1.13%. And surprisingly, nearby King County actually has a lower average property tax rate of 0.97%. So to put this in simple terms, the average Sumner homeowner pays around $4,800 in property taxes each year. Homeowners insurance. It's not only recommended, it's required if you have a mortgage on your property. Homeowners insurance protects you and your belongings in the event that something unexpected happens, like a fire or theft or natural disasters. Hopefully Mount Rainier never blows up. We don't have to worry about a volcano situation. In Washington, you can expect to pay around $100 to $138 a month. Now, I always recommend speaking to a few people and getting multiple quotes. And remember that the cheapest policy may not always be the best choice, and it could actually end up costing you more in the long run if key items are not covered. Now, not every home in Sumner is part of a homeowners association, but some are. Usually when you're paying HOA dues, they're going to go towards common area maintenance and amenities. Some HOAs in Sumner are as little as $10 a month, and others can be up to $400 a month. So more amenities, more fees. So if you're looking at a gated community with a community pool, a park, a basketball court, lake access, and so on, there's more that needs to be maintained. So the dues are going to be higher. Compare that to a neighborhood where the HOA is really just in place to make sure that no one lets their yard get out of hand or paints their house a crazy color. And that's going to be closer to that $10 a month region. But again, there are plenty of homes in Sumner without an HOA if that is something that you feel strongly about, because I know some people do. Coming from Florida, I was surprised to find out that you have to set up and pay for garbage disposal separately here. In Florida, it's just included with your property taxes. Here, it's based on how much garbage you're disposing. If you are a first-time homebuyer coming from renting an apartment, some of your utility costs may be higher simply because you now have more space to heat. You have yard to water and maintain, and maybe some of your utilities were included with your rent, but now it's a separate expense. So just something to be mindful of if you are, as you're putting together your budget. As a whole, utilities here are a little bit lower than the national average. So that's good if you're moving here from somewhere else. Okay, now that we've gone through your basic monthly expenses of owning a home, let's talk about maintaining your home. Depending on the age of your home and appliances, there are different things that will need to get serviced on a monthly and seasonal basis, such as a crawl space, another thing we did not have in Florida. But apparently you can get pests and creatures and all these other creepy crawlers in there, so you definitely want to make sure you're keeping an eye on that. I would not personally want to crawl down there, so hiring that out, but that is an expense. So something to keep in mind. Other things that you got to take care of are making sure the lawn is cut during the summer and the gutters are cleaned out before the rainy season. And these are just a few examples. Now, I've created a comprehensive guide of all of the things that you need to do each season to keep your house in tip-top shape. You can get that at the link in the description. You'll also want to make sure that you are putting money aside to repair or replace those bigger ticket items like the roof or plumbing and electric and major appliances like your furnace. You want to put that money aside, each month or each year, whatever makes sense for your budget. You can probably estimate around $1,000 or so in annual home maintenance costs. Now, obviously, if you are hiring somebody to do all of your general home maintenance, it's going to cost more than $1,000. But if you're doing most of the work yourself, $1,000 should keep you in the clear. It is good financial practice to have some sort of emergency fund set up, whether you own a house or not, because life is full of surprises, both good and bad. Dave Ramsey says a good place to start is to have $1,000 in your emergency fund. From there, building up to 1 to 3 months of expenses is a good start. Not the end all be all, a good start. Now, having an emergency fund in place allows you to still pay for those monthly expenses if you unexpectedly lose your job or cover that major repair that suddenly pops up. Okay, becoming a homeowner can feel a little daunting sometimes, I get it, especially if you're not prepared for the cost and the responsibility. But more than that, it is an exciting milestone in your life, an investment in not only your future, but your children's future. Owning real estate is one of the best ways to create generational wealth for your family. Now, don't forget to download that home maintenance guide and let me know in the comments if any of these things surprised you. If you moved to Washington from somewhere else and were there any costs you didn't expect aside from garbage or crawl spaces if you're coming from Florida like I am. As always, my name is Rebekah Daniels. I am a local real estate broker here in the South Sound. If you have any questions about living in or moving to Washington, feel free to reach out. My contact information is below in the description. And until next time, make it a great day.